up, guys? Happy Wednesday. It's Alex and Danielle here for Rise and Grind from the playing field of parenthood, back live, both of us together for the first time in a bit. Episode 17 coming at you. And we are talking all things AUSL draft today because Dee was kind enough to give us the inside scoop after traveling to Nashville, right? Nashville? To do all the things live in the studio. So super excited to kind of dig into that with you guys today.
Yeah, what a whirlwind. It kind of came up really quick where it was, hey, there's an opportunity here. I think we had like 10 plus days or so to start to get mentally prepared to do this. And God, wanted to do it, no doubt, but I was like anxious about it with all the different things going on at home, right? Like, a lot going on, kids and sports and so many things. So I was like, man, with Clearwater coming up in a week and a half and the team prep for that. But then again, I'm also like, I've been around Athletes Unlimited since the jump in 2020. Like it's almost like I had to give myself a pep talk. Like, I'll be okay. Like, I know I've seen this league. I know
this. Yeah.
And once you get in there, everything will be fine. But I do think, you know, as well, when you're in this industry where you work and do TV stuff, your prep is your confidence booster. It's what calms the nerves in the moment. So I was very excited to be a part of this team. I know Sherry Kemp had reached out and talked with me and Andrea Carter and Amanda. And once I started talking with Amanda, I was like, dang, this is going to be really fun because it's historic. Like, it really is a stage that isn't going to go away. And I think you look at kind of Athletes Unlimited from when it started in 2020 to the unknown of what it was going to be with COVID, of course, and then them being able to add, you know, there's 4 additional sports that they were able to bring in within 18 months. Like, they move quick at this fast pace. And I think from someone that's played at the pro level, the question mark at times has always been like, is it going to stick? Is a team going to leave? Do they have enough money? Are people getting paid? You know, these women are having to do multiple jobs just to be able to stay to play for the love of the game. You know how many times people say like, oh, it's for the love of the game. It's like, yeah, we love to do it, but at the end of the day, it needs to be worth something. We have to be able to support ourselves and our families and our loved ones. It becomes bigger than the game. So that's what I think about with this league, right? And the benefits and the different things that they're able to offer with healthcare year round to those that are, you know, going to be playing. They give the childcare policy with being able to help with maternity leave, adoption leave, being able to have babysitters and nannies in season where they're helping financially be able to pay those people so these athletes can perform. Like, those are really big deals because I know when I played and I found out that I was pregnant, and I was still playing softball, like, I was scared that like there was a chance I might not be able to go back and play next year because someone might take my spot. So,
well, and you're not protected in any way in your contract or in like the red tape, fine print, whatever you want to call it. And I think people don't realize how much that takes away from what you can give all the time because that's like constantly in the back of your mind. Right. Like men don't have it that way because even if they do have a kid, like, they're not the ones going through that physical adjustment and change. And everybody looks at women when they get pregnant who are professional athletes and it's like, oh, well, career might be over now. Like, everything's going to change. And so to have that sort of freedom and support, I think is just going to be such a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. So when this opportunity came up and booked flights, and I was like, shit, we're really doing it. We're doing it, Amanda. Like, and I love Scarborough. Like, she's been doing it since 2008 or 2009 behind the mic stuff. And I feel like I've really gotten the chance to get to know her over the course of the last, we'll say like 5 years. I've known her, but like really know her where like I can rely on her. I can call her a homie. I can trust her. And I say that with all your people, right? Like, your friends are your people that you trust and you can say things to and have those types of conversations. And Amanda has turned into one of my like good friends. And I think she learned this off season with me when we're in softball season. Like, we're in it. We talk all the time. We're like, hey, what games do you have? And we're on the phone. when you were doing Texas A&M, what'd you hear? And then some, this is just me, but sometimes in the fall, winter, I go dark. Like
Yeah.
I'm not the best communicator because it's all of a sudden now just kids, right? Like kids and sports and grind. And I only have 2, you have 4. So you fully know you sometimes go from this work mindset to then, dude, now we're just grinding. So Amanda has been a loyal homie, and I've loved getting the opportunity to do studio stuff with her at the World Series because she
Mhm.
goes all the way up until the Champ Series and then comes and does the studio stuff with us. So to do a show with her was incredible. And then Andrea Carter, like I've been a fangirl of Dre
Yeah.
since I met her in Oklahoma City a couple years ago. And like prime example of just head down, going to work, man, respecting and appreciating everything that she has. She has worked so hard and it's noticeable, right? So for her to
Mhm.
jump into this softball piece, she knows softball by seeing it, but to be a host of a 2.5-hour show with all
Right.
these players and all these things, like that was a big ask of her, and she absolutely killed it. Like
Yeah.
it was incredible to see that work behind the scenes of her and doing college game day and all the things, and she still made time to prep for 82 athletes and a 2.5-hour show and a trip to Nashville. Wasn't feeling good. So not to make this a super sappy story, but I just felt fortunate to do it with those two. You know, the connection and the chemistry and shows like that is what calms any type of like anxiety or nerves of like, dang, we're only 10 minutes in. It's a two hour 20-minute show still.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it kind of carries over from like our experience maybe with our teams, different teams, right? Like when you know that you have people alongside you that have like know their shit and like have taken care of the work and put it in and put in the hours and the time, and like you can step up confidently and say, you know what, we're gonna kick ass today.
yeah,
So it's cool that like you got to experience that. And I think over time, one of our biggest complaints has always been like the type of coverage that softball has gotten
yeah,
years past. It's gotten so much better, and it's such a different landscape now for these players that get the type of commentators like you, Amanda, you know, having Andrea Carter come in and really gives softball the respect it deserves. Like it's not somebody just saying, oh, there goes the ball, oh, I think that's a single, like not even knowing the rules of the game, to now having these people who are experts at it
yeah,
and being able to bring viewers into the game in a totally different and new way. So I think that's such a cool thing for you guys to have done. And it was super fun to watch. Like, again, it's history being made. Like
yeah.
this will never be a first again. And this is going to be epic, and it's going to change a lot of people's lives.
Yeah. And I think, you know, before we get into it, it's like I brought my daughter to Athletes Unlimited and the point system and all of that. And like her getting to meet those players was absolutely incredible. But I think now you have a league that is here for good, where like at 11, 12, 13, where you're really starting to think about college, it gives you that excitement of post college that there is an opportunity for you
Right.
to continue to play this game. Like, you know, old school over here, Canadian kid. Like I didn't even know the opportunity to play in college was there, let alone the pro league, right? But
Right.
now we have so much more access to all the things and social media and a lot of stuff. So these kids get to now see not only like these pros and the grind and the work that they do. I think that's the one thing I told you, like watching Sierra Romero and Skylar Wallace work out together in Florida.
Together. I know.
That stuff excites me.
Yeah.
And they're healthy athletes to watch on the internet, because then you're getting these kids that are going like, dude, look at how strong they are. Look at what they're doing. And I'm starting to see that so much with these athletes that are in the AUSL. They're posting a lot more of like workouts and the behind the scenes. So it makes me excited for the future of just my kid in this sport. If it is something she wants to do, both of them, they get an
Yeah.
opportunity. So it's it just kind of felt like a bittersweet moment for sure.
Yeah.
So, you know, 2.5 hours seems scary as hell to sit up there and talk. And then when we're up there and the picks and we're explaining everything, I'm like, this is so dope. Like,
Yeah.
wow, I just feel just so lucky to even be in this chair
Hence
and
the moment.
talk
Yeah.
this. Yeah, I really did. Like,
Yeah.
I feel that way with ESPN every opportunity I get, you know, in as the years go, I'm like, wow, I feel very lucky. This kind of solidified that feeling of like, I've been doing this since 2020 and it is a special group of people that they have that are continuing to make Athletes Unlimited thrive. So, yeah.
We're gonna have our own college game day soon.
Yeah. That would
How
be kind
cool
of
would
cool,
that be?
though.
That
That
would
would be
be
so
cool,
cool.
especially like in a place like Clearwater where you've got like all these different teams, like people
Yeah.
from all over the country. That'd be cool. But
If-
wishful thinking down the line.
Maybe one day. That would be
Yeah.
super dope.
Go ahead.
No, I just think, for AUSL, for people that are listening, just kind of a breakdown of what this is. Athletes Unlimited has been going since 2020, and it was the point system, right? Where, you get a home run, you're touching 4 bases, 40 points, you're getting
Like fantasy football,
Yeah,
but
fantasy football, only one winner. Second place, third gets medals, but it's not as much team aspect
mhm,
throughout the dedication of the year. It's more like if I perform well, I'm able to go up the leaderboard. Top 4 get to make the decisions week to week. So it's this, I think probably love-hate for some of these athletes that like are all about the team, but then have to learn how to figure out like, I kind of got to be selfish with some stuff because if I want to
mhm,
be successful and I want to get paid more, I got to be higher up that leaderboard. So when they made the decision that they're bringing in this AUSL last year, man, it was cool to see because you started to get this buzz of the traditional ways of softball coming back.
right.
And, right now it's going to be this 4-team league. They're going to expand to 2 additional teams next year.
Mhm,
They're going to be going around from like 6 to 8 different cities throughout next year, and 24 games total. So we're going to be playing 24 games. I know 30 plus games are going to be on the ESPN networks. But I think something to think about when we did this draft, 82 athletes were up on the draft board and 48 athletes got chosen. So,
mhm,
I mean, you're having some of these athletes that aren't getting the opportunity to play, which I think was definitely a sad thing for me to think about. Because there were so many big time names, but so 12 for each team got drafted, which left an at-large bid right after the draft if they wanted to take someone. It didn't even have to be someone in the athlete pool.
uh-huh.
And then it leaves each team 3 roster spots for college. When college season's up, they want to draft some kids. I can think of one off the top of my head, Texas A&M, Emily Kennedy, right? Like those types of athletes will be available for the draft. So I could see at times the decision making of understanding, like, for example, the Volts had the last pick, Kat and Kelly Kretschmann, and they'll get the first pick in the college draft.
Right.
So being able to think and pair up and go like, okay, we got this person, but like, who do we think we could eye as a college pitcher to bring in to help kind of solidify
Round
this
out.
pitching
Yeah.
staff and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, it was originally only going to be 15 roster spots, and they had really kind of made the push to try to get 16, which I think from someone who's done the Olympic stuff, 15 is not very many athletes
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. It's a pretty slim roster
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't leave a lot of room for like injuries or, sickness or anything like that. Like if you only have one extra person in that position, that's really,
Yep.
that's it.
They'll have the reserve pool of
Mhm,
athletes can opt in to be a part of. So if someone goes down or a situation happens, it's, an alternate mentality and you'll be able to bring someone in. But, it was hard to see some athletes not get drafted that have been doing it for a long time.
yeah. That's
Like just even looking at like a couple of them, like I think about someone like Megan Wiggins. This would be her 15th year playing professional ball. Not saying
mhm,
that she can't still continue to play.
right.
She can, but she's been doing it for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And didn't get picked for one of those 48 athletes. Another one I think that's been doing it for a long time, Nadia Taylor, played at
Yeah.
Texas, been play. So it's just like I think this opened up some eyes to, the league had tended to be the same kind of athletes year after year
Right.
since
Just like
2020.
over and over again. Yeah.
But the point system format and captain driven league, you're seeing captains have to make decisions. And sometimes there's really good connected friendships that you pick. Like, I want a loyal homie on my team, and I know that they got my back and they're going to help me. And maybe their numbers aren't fantastic, but I want them on my team. And you have the ability to do that because I'm one of the top 4 players. I get to make those picks.
Right.
Listen, AUSL is not that.
Yeah.
AUSL is, you have hired GMs, right? Like, higher GMs, you think about with the Bandits, you have Jenny Dalton Hill, GM, Stacy Newman Denise, San Diego State head coach, will be the head coach. You think about the Blaze, Dana Sorensen played at Stanford, Elisa Goler played at Georgia, head coach. Excuse me. You have the Talons, Lisa Fernandez, GM. The head coach will be Howard Dobson, coached at LSU, Team USA forever. And then you have the Volts, Kat Osterman, GM, Kelly Crutchman, head coach. So you have a whole bunch of badass people that are in the mix, that are putting their name on a product that don't normally do it, right? Fernandez made that clear when we did a Zoom call. She said, it's not that I didn't appreciate the Athletes Unlimited and loved it, but like, I didn't like the point system. Yeah. And when as soon as you like, it went to the traditional method, I was all about it. I want to put my name on it. And that I think stood out to me over a lot of things, because I mean, she's the goat of all goats in my eyes. I remember watching her as a little kid. I even told her on the phone, like, I watched you at Canada Cup and you made me want to do that. Like, you made me want to aspire to be that absolute savage in the circle. Like, that's who she is. And that's who she still is. Yeah. And so when I think about what team I'd probably want to play on, I would want to learn. I would want to learn from her. So
yeah. And it's crazy to me too, because along with like that difference between the point system and then the team system is like what they have to think about in terms of these athletes and the type of coaching that they're used to versus what they might be getting that's different in the AUSL. That's the other thing I think that might be a component when they're picking people is, you know, if this person played at UCLA, they're accustomed to a certain coaching staff and style versus somebody that's coming from LSU or somebody that's coming from, you know, ACC. Like, all those coaching mentalities and, you know, how they structure things and all of the intricate details that set each program apart. You're now potentially bringing in this mesh of athletes from all these different things. And so it's also going to be interesting to see how people rise to that challenge, and then some people that might struggle with it, like you said, going from AU where it's so individual mentality back to this team mentality. I think that's going to cause, I mean, not cause problems, but it's going to be really interesting to watch these athletes potentially kind of go through an adjustment period. Coaches too, like I'm like you, I'm like, Elisa Fernandez would be amazing to be coached by, but at the same time, like, I'd probably be shitting bricks most of the time, because it's like you don't not fall in line for that. So like, I can't imagine like then being an adult. Like, it's just crazy. Like, you're not in that college scenario anymore. It's not, this is like the person that you have to buy into all the time. It's somebody that you buy into naturally because of who she is, but it's just you're in a different space as an athlete. So I think it's going to be a lot of different components than just playing for a college. And I hope that these athletes are ready for that.
Yeah. It's such a good point that you make with that, right? Because the last 5 years, a lot of these athletes have had to fend for themselves. The off season is, so you think about those rookies that get drafted right away and roll from college season into the AU. They're rolling. They have the reps. They have all the things. I think the next year is the most challenging year, because you start to train and you're like, okay, what do I need? When I'm at school, I'm being like, you know, force fed. Hey, we got weights. We have this. These are the little things. I want you to do this. And now that's like very different. So I think what stood out to me, we did an interview with Amanda Lorenz, and the one thing she talked about at the end was just like how excited she is to get coached again. Some of these athletes are craving that
dynamic.
Right? Yeah. Because being an athlete, that is all that you've ever known. And it's not like, oh, once you become a pro, like you throw that out the window. I just, you know, I'm self-made. I just do it all myself. It's like, there has been a lot of pieces to the puzzle that others have thrown in the mix to help. So I think that to me is what makes this exciting, because there was this strategic format at times with who's being drafted based on, you know, the GMs and the head coaches and the flow and the vibe and how they want the team and stuff to be. Like, there's probably some athletes that they wanted and then some that they didn't because they knew they wouldn't mesh well with them, right? Like, fortunately, that's how it works. You get to make the decisions as the GM. Like, even when I look at Lisa Fernandez's team, the Talons, right? Like, and thinking about all the UCLA Bruins that she got, she picked Megan Framo. So the Talons had an opportunity that up on the board were available was Rachel Garcia and Megan Framo, and they ended up picking Megan Framo. They went with Charlize Palacios as a catcher, with the UCLA catcher, I believe, a year ago, that was actually calling her own game for pitchers. Maya Brady, huge. 3 Bruins. And then who else? Yeah, so they got 3 hardcore Bruins right out of the gate. So it's like Maya Brady, Charlize Palacios, and Megan Framo. So the vibe and everything with what Coach Fernandez is all about. And obviously she has Howard Dobson there for a reason. They're buds, you know, they're probably similar with things. So I don't know. Let's just kind of look through the draft board a little bit, piece by piece. We don't need to take too much time, but I think it'd be fun to just look at the different rounds and who was picked. And
were you surprised that all pitchers went first?
No, not at all. You got no pitcher. This is like a foundation that we're building.
It's like fantasy football. You can't do a team without a quarterback. It's the same thing in softball. You have to build your team around that pitcher. Yeah.
And someone that you rely on, and someone that when you look at with a league where not a lot of athletes strike out, you have to be very particular about who you're choosing because you want them to be able to take on a pretty heavy workload, maybe back-to-back days, but that have the ability to go in and make good adjustments. That's the biggest thing because these hitters are so damn good. So that I can understand, especially with it being a heavy right arm, righty pitcher league, that are all primarily up 68 to 72 miles an hour up in the zone, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you look at kind of the first 2 picks in the draft, like right out of the gate, Lexi Kilfoyle for the Bandits, like I was not shocked with the success that she had last year, Rookie of the Year. You know, the attention to detail on like her drop ball. Yeah, it's going to be an opportunity for her to learn and grow in this offseason, not playing with Oklahoma State as the year went on. But now I think it's cool because she's going to get the opportunity to hear from Jenny Dalton-Hill and Stacey Newman and reach out to the catchers and start to learn a little bit more about what's expected. But her stuff is so good. Yeah. And then I can say the same for the Blaze. Dana Sorensen and Elisa Goller went with Carly Hoover, who has not set foot in AUSL. And she was the 2nd pick overall in the draft.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if you've seen Carly Hoover throw, but girlfriend is like a top candidate for me of potentially making a Team USA roster. I mean, 70-mile-an-hour, like, you know, runner fastball, goes up, goes down, good command, 6'2", this presence of like shit. And she's
like, I don't want to step in the box right now. Yeah. Yep.
She's the dark horse. And she's played over in Japan, done well. So even though not getting the chance to play in AUSL yet, I think that was a smart pick.
Yeah.
For them. Right up. Sorry. Clearly we got a cough.
Fine. Breathe. I think too, like what you were saying about like the different pitching mentalities is the other thing that these coaches are looking for is like, because they know this is not going to be a strikeout situation where they're just like going down 1, 2, 3, is like these pitchers have to have shown that grit through getting hit, right? Like when things go not according to their plan, maybe when people make contact, are they making contact in a way that is conducive to still getting outs? And when they get on base, are we still staying in the game to get the next person out? So I think that there's a lot to be said of like, I think overall college has switched to a lot more of less strikeout mentality. Like I do think overall, I just feel like there's way less strikeouts than there ever have been.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing for hitters. But as pitchers too, I think that gives them the opportunity to rise to that occasion and feel that struggle. Like you talk about it all the time. Like it's not what you do when you're successful, it's what you do when you fail. Like that's what's going to show the type of person and player that you are. So I feel like it's such a key component of this type of a league. Like in the Olympics, there's no room for error. Here, it's almost like everybody's doing this for the first time, but they're all on such, like, I feel like it's such an even playing field.
Yeah.
And it's such an elevated playing field. Like it's such a nice step up from that college level that I think it's just really going to help a lot of these young players grow in such this different way. I'm just really excited to see that.
Yeah. And learn from some of these older vets too.
Yeah, exactly.
You can have a somewhat of a rookie pitcher like Lexi Kilfoyle, but is going to have the opportunity to be around some older players and potentially learn. And that's really what this game is all about. Like we're continuing to evolve and grow and learn. You know, and so the Talons end up picking Megan Frameout, and then Rachel Garcia goes to the Volts, which is Kat and Kelly Kretschmann's team. And when I think of Rachel Garcia, it's that two-way player all the way. So it's almost like you're getting a 2-for-1. And I think that to me was a big get. Listen, I think that Rachel Garcia has done a great job in Athletes Unlimited with the point system, as much as she can very well do. I think she's going to do better in a team traditional format. I really do. I don't know. That's just what my gut tells me. And it's not that she put up good numbers, but I do think that she's going to perform better with that type of way. So I could be wrong. That's where I'm leaning towards. Then when I think about the second round, the Blaze pick right out of the gate Alicia Ocasio, which I'm not going to say that I was a little caught off guard with. I know Dana Sorensen is a big Moneyball girl. She's always thinking numbers and looking at data and all the things, right? So it's like bringing in someone like an Ocasio and picking her in the second round. Not only are you getting that 2-for-1 like Rachel Garcia, but you're getting someone to offset a Carly Hoover. And that's when you started to see like, hey, you have Carly Hoover, throws wicked hard, right? She has good command of the zone, but then you have someone super crafty like Alicia Ocasio, who's won Athletes Unlimited, who has that experience, but more importantly, can throw a drop ball at multiple speeds, can throw an off-speed rise ball, can throw that changeup. So that combination with someone like that stood out to me, where it's like, I get the Moneyball mentality of having someone like her, which was key. And then you look at Fernandez and them, they go with Georgina Korick, and reliable, someone that I think stood out a lot in AU last year through some really big for some captains. And then we finally went to our first position player outside Ocasio, who can hit too. But, you know, Amanda Lorenz is the GOAT of all GOATs too. When I think about her and just the work, it never goes unnoticed. And not to mention, she is by far one of the most down-to-earth, humble, loving teammates, celebrate everyone. Like, shit, that is hard to find. People like that. So I celebrate that always. To me, she's one of the best that I've ever seen play at Florida. I loved getting to call games, see her grow. So I was, you know, loved that she went where she went. I know people thought she was going to be the first pick in the draft overall. But you got to go pitcher. You got to lay the foundation, right? She's a hell of a hitter, but she's an outfielder. Do I need a pitcher or do I need an outfielder? I need a pitcher. And then we can go from there. So respects went where it went with Lorenz getting picked where she did, no doubt about it. And then the last pick in that second round, Taylor McQuillan, the lefty. There was only 4 lefty pitchers that were in and eligible for the draft. Not a lot. So they come at a premium. You got to make sure if the availability is there. So Taylor McQuillan, and just year to year, how she's gotten better and better and better, man. She's played over in Japan. That was a big get. I really believe that, because I've seen her come into some pressure cooker 5th, 6th inning moments in games where her team needs her and she's rose. And with pressure and pitching, when you can combo those together and know that someone can stand out, boom, I want them. round 3, we talked about Palacios going back with Lisa Fernandez.
Yeah.
I for some reason thought Deja Mulipola was going to go
As the
ahead.
first catcher. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. But then again, you also have to look at the Bruin connection, right? Like, I know Lisa knows Charlize. She was there and coached her, and there's this comfortability, if that's the right word, that you have, that you know what you're going to get. You're not going to get an athlete that, oh God, now I got to kind of figure them out, and how is this going to work? Your catcher is
That's not how I thought this was.
yeah, and the catcher is a heartbeat, man. Like, they have to calm the tempo, get the pitchers going, and be able to vibe with everyone. So I can understand why that was the pickup. And then the Volts, I think, scored heavy with getting Mulipola.
Yeah.
Also won Athletes Unlimited. First position player. Yeah. I mean, first position player to win Athletes Unlimited, that kind of opened the door of like, oh, dude, not just going to be a pitcher all the time. Like, big bopper.
Yeah, exactly. No offense.
And then you kind of think tail end around 3, Skylar Wallace, kind of rookie, going early.
Yeah.
Athleticism through the roof. Work ethic that I love. And then the Blaze pick Aubrey Leach, experience at its finest. You have 2 complete opposite players of, someone like Skylar Wallace first starting out, and then someone like Aubrey Leach, who has been doing this year after year. Like, I think that is and speaks volumes to what the Blaze is like looking for, right? You want your new athletes, but then again, you really want to make sure, like, that was the 3rd pick for them.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal that they chose a middle infielder, someone to ground everyone, keep everyone on the same page. I thought that was big.
Yeah. The spine, right? I mean, you talk pitcher catcher up the middle, like that is the spine of the field for a reason. Like, that is the backbone, right? That is where you have to have your strongest leaders and your strongest performers, because they're the ones that control the rest of the field. So I think it makes a lot of sense that you go up the middle like that.
Yeah. And then round 4, first pick in that round, Jessie Warren. I mean, Florida State, come on. Like, has won AU Defensive Player of the Year. Like, she's done some magical things. I think team format's going to be key for her too. I think she's going to thrive. And then Bubba Nichols, second pick in that 4th round. She's an absolute G. She's so good. UX, is now an assistant coach at UCLA. 2020 Olympian, experienced, big. Like, there's just a lot of things that I love about Bubba Nichols. Tough out, best hitters. And then Aaliyah Andrews goes with the Blaze, just speed at its finest. But, they say infield hurts you and outfield kills you. Like, you need players like Aaliyah Andrews. Aaliyah, they call her.
Amazing. Yeah.
So
flying
good.
Through the air. Yeah. So good.
And then the Talons, I know Lisa Fernandez had talked about Hannah Flippin in our Zoom call. She was big on their list with just, they competed against her at Utah, UCLA did, Pac-12, RIP.
Yep.
And so being able to get her, I think, is someone that locks down the infield for them. Round 5 is when the Bandits chose to get a catcher, and they went with Mia Davidson. And, Mississippi State leads the SEC home runs, 92 home runs, SEC leader. It's a big deal. Girl can swing it. And she's so good at being able to, like, get to know people, right? She wants to get to her catcher. She tries to figure out what them tick. That stands out. And then Blaze go Anissa Ortez. Smooth, can play second, can play short. Will give you good, long, lengthy at-bats and really battle. Loved her. Yeah. And then the Talons had the opportunity to get Maya Brady, who literally the day before AUSL draft kicked off was someone that was named that late sign, which was exciting. You saw ESPN articles out. You saw so many different things. And I think it was an opportunity for her to continue to keep playing pro, because we didn't know if she was going to give it a chance, right? Graduates, UCLA, finishes in Oklahoma City. Is she going to keep playing? She's played national team. Playing pro is different. So I love seeing that. And then the end of round 5, the Volts went with Tiare Jennings, middle infielder, 4 national championships.
Middle infielder, yep.
Winners win. Top around 6, we go with another OU signee. The Blaze end up picking Kaylani Ricketts, which to me is that two-way player, if need be. Big, strong, throws hard, coming from the left side. Like I said, there's not a lot of left-handed pitchers, so you know what you're going to get with her. The next pick excited me the most because I know that people were saying maybe she wouldn't get drafted, maybe she would. But the second pick in the 6th round for the Talons, they went with Savannah Jaquish. Listen, she had a 391 career average in Athletes Unlimited. People can say, oh, man, maybe she didn't get along with everyone or this or that, whatever the case may be. Girlfriend can hit. And the one thing that you can say about the dudes game, MLB, all the things, like they're not picking someone when it comes to that stuff. If you have the numbers, you have like, you're going to come and help make our team better, and we're going to find a way to make this work. And I was so happy because I think she is not only one of the most hyped utility players. She can play outfield. She can play third base. She can catch. She can go to first. She can go anywhere. That's key on a team. But the biggest thing was, I think, her going to the Talons, which she gets the opportunity to play with Howard Dobson again, right? Played with at LSU. Another example of drafting someone that you have familiarity with and that you feel like, okay, I feel
you know what you're going to get. Yeah.
You know what you're going to get. You know, 3rd pick in that 6th round, Peyton Gottschall. I know Kat Osterman had reached out to Haley McClinney and was asking like, hey, pitchers you faced in AU that you hated going against. Haley McClinney said Peyton Gottschall. So I loved how Kat took, you know, Haley's advice. Bandits in the bottom of the 6th, last pick, end up going with Aaron Koffel, Kentucky grad, can play multiple positions, always learning, so good. This was a big get. All of them are big gets. So when I say that, but it just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you don't know how this is you never know how this is going to shake out. You never know, you know, based on you have 1st pick, you have 2nd pick, 3rd pick, 4th, but like to get somebody good even a little bit later in some of the rounds is like, you see something in that player that somebody else is not seeing. And like, you get excited about stuff like that. Like, I got this, like, this is the one I really wanted. And you don't want to make it too obvious. That's another part of the mind game, right? Like, you don't want to make it too obvious, the ones that you want, because then you feel like somebody might take, like, it's just there's a whole strategy behind it, right?
There's a lot.
Yeah.
7th round, right out of the gate, Talons go Ali Aguilar, back-to-back dogs out of the gate. Sis Bates goes with the Volts next pick. You have Morgan Zirkle, who is the head coach at Marshall, goes to the Bandits next pick, and then the Blaze pick Kayla Kowalik, who's up there to me with like a Savannah Jaquish, who can play multiple positions. I think that is, when you have a 16-team roster, you need to make sure someone is able to come in and step up. 8th round, right out of the gate, you have the Volts picking Erica Piancastelli, outfield, can catch as well, I've seen her catch with Italy, Olympian.
And kicks butt in AU,
Yeah, and just a big bopper, right? Fear factor, steps in the box, that's key. Bandits go with Delaney Wiz, which there's history with San Diego State and coaching with Stacey Newman-Denise, so they have that connection. The Blaze go with Bailey Klingler, another dog, utility at its finest, was a top 3 finalist for National Player of the Year. And then the Talons end up getting Tori Vidalis, one of my favorites, another ESPN analyst, played with Mexico, so good. I love Tori. TV Tori, it calls her. 9th round, and then it's starting to kind of feel it when we're like at the 2-hour 5-minute mark. You're like, dang, 4 rounds left. Who's going to get picked and who's not? And it's like, it's the beginning of round 9. The Bandits go with Sydney McKinney. Money, had a career average of 491 average in the college game at Wichita State. Unbelievable. And that speed, right? Like, you're seeing this league not necessarily be built as much on speed like it used to, because you're seeing these players play longer and they're getting more pop on the bat, more strength as these women continue to learn their bodies and get better and bigger and stronger. So you're not seeing much. Round 9, 2nd pick, Elena Vaughter, Stanford, transfer to South Carolina, down in the zone. I like this pickup for the Blaze because she does throw that drop ball. I think that comes at a premium as well when it's a heavy right-handed pitcher league. The Talons go with Montana Fouts, which is a big, a big get with not only just how much she's loved in the game. I think
Yeah.
she still hasn't even like scratched the surface with how well she can perform. So the fact that she gets to learn from Lisa Fernandez,
Yeah.
whoa, that's a
That
big
combination is going to be killer.
It's going to be really cool for Montana. The Volts end up choosing Kelsey Stewart Hunter, 2 little kids, been playing, like seeing her working hard. 10th round, Blaze end up picking Sierra Briggs, outfield, love it. LSU rookie, so good, confident, seen her play with the US elite team, had a great summer with that. Then you have the Talons who end up picking up Caroline Jacobson. Not going to say I was shocked because her numbers are great, but there's definitely like still some big wigs on the board where you're like, dang, it just kind of gets you thinking. The Volts with the next pick go Mariah Masson, Oregon State, threw some big innings in Athletes Unlimited over the last couple of years, some clutch innings. So I know the trust factor is there with Kat. And then the Bandits solidify Odyssey Alexander. I didn't know if she was going to get drafted. I did not know.
Really?
There was 20 pitchers on the board. She won Athletes Unlimited. She's done well, but she's struggled a little bit. But I also think now going back to it not being about me, being about the team is going to do well. Round 11, we're like, dang, there's only 8 picks left. Who's going to get picked?
Yeah.
And the Romero sisters hadn't got picked yet. And I didn't love it. I love them. I love the Romero family. I love the Romero sisters. So Sid Romero gets picked beginning of round 11. She goes to the Talons, Fernandez and Dobson. It's a huge get. I love Sid. Sid the kid is just so good at her craft. Coaches at Oregon. Big deal. So I would say it's a steal.
Yeah.
The second pick in the 11th round, Mackenzie Clark goes to the Volts. Clemson, speed, a lot of good things that she's going to bring to the table, and some youth, right? I think it's cool to bring those rookies in and give them chances. She played last year, but you know what I mean? When I say rookie, like I think first couple of years.
Yeah, 1 or 2 years. Yeah.
And then the last pick in the 11th round shocked me the most. I thought she was going to go a lot higher. Taylor Edwards.
Yeah.
Maybe her offensive numbers aren't what people want, but man, behind the dish, she's so good. So good. Pitch calling at its finest. I thought she was going to go sooner than she did. Love Taylor. And then we rounded out the 12th round, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, who the hell is going to go? Like all of these athletes fighting for 4 more spots. And Sierra Romero gets picked up by the Volts, which I think is going to be a good addition to TRA Jennings.
Yeah.
The Bandits choose Bella Dayton, postseason Bella with Texas.
Yeah.
So outfield, great stick, a lot of speed. The Blaze end up picking Kaylee Harding, Florida State outfielder, has some good pop behind the bat, good teammate. People love being around her. And then, you think about the last pick, the Talons go with Victoria Hayward. And this was probably a humbling moment for Vic, right? Like Victoria wears number 1 because she was the first athlete to ever sign in Athletes Unlimited softball.
Right.
Right. And then this AUSL draft rounds out the 48th pick and is the last pick in the draft. Like those are humbling moments when you've played the game for a long time. So special moment for Vic, no doubt. But, some athletes left off the board. Sad. It's a part of the game. I think that's when you learn what you're made of. It's when you learn, am I going to continue to keep putting in the work so the opportunity may present itself again? Ball is in my court. It seems like it's not, but it is. So what am I willing to do in the off season or whatever I can do to try to continue to keep playing this game that I love? Because not a lot of people want to hang it up. So that just kind of sums up the draft for me in a nutshell. It was absolutely incredible. I love that these GMs and these coaches are putting the name on the product. I love that the people that you guys don't see are the most important people that make Athletes Unlimited run. And the behind the scenes, the social media team, you guys should have seen the attention to detail, the photographers, Jade Hewitt. There's so many people that work tirelessly to make this work. And that's, to me, always what stands out about AU. Their social media game and how much they focus on that. It gives everyone an inside scoop to how incredible this is. and they do the little things right. So I just wanted to make sure that all those people are aware of how incredible they all are.
They really just like, they bring us along for the ride. They're making it relevant. They're making it exciting to watch. And like, social media is such a big thing right now. And so for them to be on it as much as they are and like really just hit the nail on the head, I think speaks volumes for not only like them as people and like their strategies and the stuff, but like the collaboration all together from top to bottom for this league is going to be such a game changer. The athletes, the coaches, the managers, you guys at ESPN, it's such a team effort all the way across the board. And that to me is the most exciting thing. So we're super excited to watch that play out. We're super excited for opening weekend this weekend.
We'll talk shop next week. Talk college.
We're going to recap and talk shop, all the things, but we're looking forward to it, guys. Thanks for listening along. We'll see you next week.